Hey, folks, thanks so much for joining the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. I'm Jared Floyd. Very quickly, I want to send an alert out to our social media folks. If you're an app user, you're about to receive this late. I was supposed to send it. A lot of folks have been requesting that I send out a push alert before we do an update. And so it's live winter weather update. A live winter weather update is underway. So you're about to get that here shortly. Y'all are about to see real time how quickly these alerts are sent. So just sent. Okay, now it's sent. And so you guys should receive that as folks join in for an update to the conditions. Now, as we get into this very, very quickly, and I'm not going to entertain a lot of questions, and here's why. First off, it appears as though I'm struggling to even receive chats. No, I'm seeing the chats. But the other thing is, folks are starting to lose power. They probably don't want to waste too much time or battery power sitting here listening to me talk about my favorite foods and what I've been snacking on. Like that, we're in the thick of it right now. And for a lot of areas, this is becoming a situation that is a little unnerving. And a lot of folks are like, okay, again, the fun is over. And it never really started for a lot of folks because, again, conditions deteriorated from 9 a.m. To 2 p.m. rather quickly across the region. Check of the radar made possible by Brown's Roofing. We'll go ahead and kind of play this into motion, and you can see that the first wave of precipitation is starting to kind of wind down across the area. Now, that's good news to a certain degree, but let me caution you by thinking that that's a huge positive, because I don't expect us to completely get rid of the precipitation. We've also seen kind of the peak of temperatures. We'll get to those in just a minute. We're at kind of the peak heating of the afternoon. But I'm really concerned that these waves of light precipitation that will kind of meander through the area through the afternoon and evening hours tonight could lead to some faster accumulations in terms of light precipitation in terms of freezing rain tends to accumulate more readily than heavier precipitation. So that does lead to some concerns that we're just going to continue to stack on some ice. The ASAW station out at the Monroe Regional Airport has us at 0.36 inches of ice accretion so far. That's a little over a third of an inch of ice already across the area. Check of temperatures. First, the water vapor imagery. And again, this is just to kind of nail the point home that we're not done yet. You can see the big spiraling mid-level disturbance that's making its way along the northwestern Mexican coastline. We got a long way to go because that thing's got to phase all the way into the upper level pattern. That's the fire hose that continues to overrun the moisture across the region. Meanwhile, at the surface, we have northeasterly winds continuing to bring in cold air. So it's really... It's one of those scenarios you just don't see very often. Cold air just continuing to pour in at the surface while we just continue to send moisture up and over that cold air. And while some areas have seen temperatures rebound at least briefly this afternoon, most of us generally stay below freezing. Again, I want to caution you that if you see the temperatures right now and you go, okay, we're back above freezing, great, everything's hunky-dory. Well, first off, you've got ice. A lot of folks have ice on the ground. If you are at or below freezing, and you have ice on the ground, that stuff's not going anywhere. If you are above freezing and you have ice on the ground, if you're only at 33 degrees, it's going to take a little while. It's going to take a while for that to melt because it's melting pretty slowly. But along that note, again, 3 o'clock is peak heating hours of the afternoon. So if this were a summertime day, this would be about as warm as we're going to get. So as the sun starts to set, temperatures are going to start falling, whatever's on the road starts to freeze, and precipitation-wise, whatever we have in the air is going to start freezing again as well. So the folks that have changed over to rain, also keep in mind, freezing rain just looks like rain until it hits something below freezing. And I think that's a misconception that continues. A lot of folks just tend to struggle to wrap their brain around how freezing rain works. And that's okay. That's why I'm here. These are temperatures across the area. Plain Dealing, 23, almost 24 degrees. Homer's below freezing. All of these areas currently below freezing. Plain Dealing, Homer, Mer Rouge, Lake Providence, Dubach, Farmerville, Ringgold, Monroe at ULM, Delhi, Sicily Island, Columbia, Jonesboro, Gina, Alto, and that's it. Eris is at 32.04. That 0.04 is not going to melt ice really quickly, but at least it's better than being at 31.96. Check of wind speeds out of the northeast, quite breezy at times. Obviously, that's going to be the problem as we continue to accumulate ice in our trees. That's already become an issue in many locations. You've heard the pops and the cracks of tree limbs falling onto power lines. You've heard the pops of transformers. The sound of an ice storm, unfortunately. The wind chills continue to be a problem. I really don't anticipate the wind subsiding that much as we go into the night. In fact, they'll probably pick up again tomorrow as we talk about the convective nature, potentially, of some of the freezing rain that we're dealing with. Check of power outages across the area. Again, these are unofficial parish and county numbers. So as you see them above these specific cities, it's not 27% of Monroe that's without power. It's 27% of Ouachita Parish customers that are without power. That's about a quarter of the parish. So clearly, like I said, we're in the thick of it. And this is wave one. The wave that was supposed to be the lighter wave, the wave that we really didn't know how much we would get out of it because we didn't know how far the precip would stretch southward and how cold it would be. This was the uncertain wave. So again, I've looked at it from and in full disclosure, I've been doing this for 20 years. And I called Nick Miculus down in Alexandria before we did this live stream. And I was like, hey man, I got to ask this question. And it sounds stupid. I was like, can you see any meteorological way for a good chunk of my area to get above freezing at some point tomorrow? And he's like, I don't see it. And we had a very candid conversation about all this stuff. Also, side note, for folks that have sent me messages out about the YouTube volume levels being different, I'm trying to correct that. I brought my microphone up. I brought the countdown music video down to try to even that out, but also I think YouTube tries to balance the audio out and it keeps turning me down automatically. So I tried to fix that, but I've heard your concerns and your criticisms and your opinions. I appreciate it. Always send that kind of stuff because anything we can do to make this better for you is very important. Road temperatures. Most of us are seeing road temperatures already below freezing. Again, I'm going to probably limit how many questions I get to, but Heath does ask, light wave, ? It's going to get worse. Unfortunately, the way it looks, yes. We'll get to that in just a minute. Here's a look at airport delays. DFW now in an active ground stop until 5 p.m. I would assume that's because of wintry precipitation. Thank you for the folks that are telling me the sound's good on YouTube. I appreciate that. So, again, if you're flying to DFW, they're in a full ground stop at this point. I'll keep you updated on these off and on through the nighttime hours tonight, through the day tomorrow, just in case you're traveling. I know a lot of folks have asked me about flights. Futurecast made possible by Bayou Power Sports, I-20 Frontage Road in Monroe. Shows, again, this first wave wraps up. Some light precipitation festers into the early part of the night before the main upper disturbance phases into the pattern. And then we're going to do this all over again during the morning hours tomorrow. More than likely is freezing rain. There will be the potential for some of it to change over to sleet as the colder air at the surface becomes more entrenched. So those are all, that's the scenario that sets up as we go into the day tomorrow. A look at the accumulations. We're really, in many spots, in danger of outperforming this forecast. Meaning that ice accumulations, we've already overdone the sleet. I said less than a quarter of an inch of sleet. I'm not going to change it now because there's no point in changing the forecast. The forecast was what it was. Now that we're in the thick of this event, there's no point in changing this. This is really for transparency's sake. This is what we said versus what's happening now. Again, I wouldn't be surprised for us to outperform this entire forecast. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't outperform this entire forecast. I wouldn't be surprised if we didn't outperform this entire forecast. Ice storm warnings that are still in place across the region. The entire area now under an ice storm warning through Sunday evening. Winter storm warnings for the areas in the north. So that's where we sit on this Saturday afternoon about 3 o'clock. Again, I don't want to spend too much time on these answering questions and, like I said, kind of drawing things out simply because a lot of folks' cell phone power is precious. So we're going to provide the updates where we can. We're going to hop back off when we can as well. Obviously, the intermediate Facebook and other social media updates will continue. The next live stream, I don't have it. Oh, yeah, I do have it explicitly planned. 5 o'clock. I'll join you at 5 o'clock. I'll try to send the alert out ahead of time this time instead of before it or during it. And like I said, for those that are in the thick of it right now, I don't really have a lot of like, oh, it's okay. This was the worst of it. We're in a very, very crummy situation. And a lot of folks, like I said, are losing power and probably should be prepared to be without service for a while. There are a lot of folks that are losing trees. There are a lot of folks that have leaking roofs. I talked about my leaky roof. That's an exterior roof. That's small potatoes. There are other folks that have leaking roofs in their houses. They have water. A lot of folks are having ice dams where the ice around their house almost kind of traps the water in as it rolls. And so folks have water coming into their houses because of all the ice. These are all issues. Be the best neighbor you can. We're all really in this together. So again, 211 is a resource that's available if you again are overwhelmed, you don't know where to turn, you need resources, call 211. It's a free confidential call. They're there to help you 24/7, 365. And we'll continue to provide these live updates, providing a community. Like I said, we're all in this together. We join these together. We sit here. We talk about the weather when we can, and we'll provide the updates where we need them through the rest of the evening, through the overnight hours, just like we did last night, and through the day on Sunday as well. Forecast is always available at digitalweatherdesk.com and on the app, available for Apple and Android users. You can find the links to download, again, at digitalweatherdesk.com. Stay safe. Stay off the roads if you can avoid it at all costs. Thank you so much to our first responders, to our to folks that are stuck at work right now. If you're working, you're important, and we appreciate you. Thanks so much for stopping by the Digital Weather Desk, powered by Century Next Bank. I'll see you at 5 o'clock.